morning. I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations that are 501c3 nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they're here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some old friends today. Yeehaw! We're celebrating over 100 years of Tucson tradition because Tucson's La Fiesta de los Vaqueros, established in 1925, marked the city's frontier spirit amidst Prohibition. The inaugural event, conceptualized by Leighton Kramer, aimed to showcase Tucson's Wild West allure and attract winter visitors. The first Tucson Rodeo, held at Kramer Field, now Catalina Vista, featured steer wrestling, steer tying, calf roping, and saddle bronc riding with a purse of $6,650. That's pretty good money in these days. Kramer praised Tucson's rodeo parade as being as notable as Mardi Gras or the Pasadena Flower Show. The rodeo's early days saw creative prizes like a 750-pound block of ice and a big cactus ham. Kramer's vision of reviving the old frontier spirit was realized as locals and tourists alike enjoyed the rodeo parade and dance. The event's success led to its expansion, with Hollywood even using Tucson Rodeo as a backdrop for films. Today, the Tucson Rodeo stands as one of North America's top professional rodeo events, with the Tucson Rodeo Committee honored for its contributions to the sport. Kramer was right, and now over 100 years later, cowboys are still asked to not shoot up the town, and La Fiesta de los Vaqueros rides on as something very uniquely and proudly Tucson. Today, I'm fortunate to speak with Mark Baird, chairman of the Tucson Rodeo. Yeehaw! Welcome to Lifestyle Tucson, Mark.
Well, thank you, Frank. How are you today?
I'm very excited to talk to you because we're celebrating all this fun stuff, especially the rodeo. It's so unique to this area. Rodeo days. Who else gets that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's unique. You know, we travel all over the country and talk to different committees and people involved in this sport, and we are the only ones in the United States that close their schools for 2 days for the kids to go to the rodeo.
That's right. Well, we're not getting snow days out here, so it's a good time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now I gave a little bit of the history there of the Tucson Rodeo. Over 100 years old. It's such a big deal. Why don't you give us a bit of the history from your perspective about the Tucson Rodeo?
Well, you know, back in the day, Frank, in the 20s when this all started, I don't know if you're aware, but the number one basically economic factor for the city of Tucson was guest ranches.
Oh.
And at one point in time, Tucson had over 75 guest ranches in this local area. And it kind of evolved out of the need for trying to keep tourists in town a little bit longer in the wintertime and give them something to do. And, you know, the guest ranches had always had little competitions amongst each other and things, but it evolved from, hey, let's get all these guys that work at these guest ranches and let's do a rodeo and they can compete amongst each other and we'll put on a show. And that's basically how it got started. You know, they were competing for hams and ice and, you know, things like that. I'm sure there was some chickens thrown in the bunch, but it basically started as an entertainment for tourists to keep them in town and keep them interested and involve the local guest ranch economy, I guess you could say, and get everybody involved. It was kind of a community type deal to get everybody from all parts of the city involved in it.
That's fascinating. I feel like I remember, was the first one done with, were there cars that like circled around and that's how they did it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very early on.
You'll see some old black and white photos that, you know, the arena was basically not an arena. It was just a piece of dirt that they used cars as a perimeter. And actually used them so they could use them at night, too, and use the headlights to light the ground. But that's what they used to cordon off the arena before there was a formal rodeo arena constructed.
That's such an important part of it. And also, it's interesting to think about when it was, because it's the roaring 20s, and everyone likes to think of the metro areas and the cities and people moving in real fast motion, dancing the jitterbug. But it's all over the country, and what was going on was that, where people are traveling, people are going out to see the West. I was reading in that bio about, I want to capture the culture of the cowboy, and what we feel like is ancient history was still history at the time, probably just not as ancient, and they want to keep that spirit alive.
You're right. And, you know, in that time, and even in the mid-20s when this all started, you know, the automobile wasn't as widespread as it is today. I mean, you know, to own a vehicle in those days was a pure luxury.
Yeah.
You know, there was still a lot of horse and wagon traffic going on, and it kind of is the beginning of the evolvement of the tourist business and travel and, the interstate highways and everything like that, that basically was in its infancy at that time. A lot of train travel, cross-country train travel. You didn't just go to the airport and jump on a plane and be, in L.A. in an hour.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more of an involved process. So a lot of planning went into that fact. And, when people traveled, it was an event. It wasn't like, hey, let's just get in the car and go to Phoenix for the afternoon. Mm-hmm. You didn't do that. So it's definitely changed, over the years, but that was in its infancy. And that's how everything kind of gets started. We were at the ground floor, basically.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And when you do mention things like Mardi Gras, like, again, we are in modern times, but back in the day, it's literally like known as the country's biggest party.
Right.
And then you have other events like we hear about the Pasadena Flower Show, which I always love bringing up because I think it's a pinnacle event, and that's really funny. But I believe that that's what they did craft. They crafted a pinnacle event that is so specific to the region and is going to attract a crowd and still does attract crowds, because I remember last year, this thing sells out. It sold out last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you think about it, back in, and this is, most of the films weren't even talkies at that time. They were still a lot of black and white orchestrated music backgrounds behind them. You didn't have actors speaking, a script line or anything. You had talkies come into the fact later, but the Western was the biggest draw for your Saturday afternoon movies.
Yes, it was.
And it was, everybody always grew up wanting to be a cowboy. And to this day, even little kids still have that. What you ask them, hey, what do you want to do? I want to be a cowboy. Mm-hmm. Well, now that we've got people in Hollywood realizing that it's cool to be cowboy again, that is turning around and coming back again now. And it's kind of fun to see it, but the little kids in the grocery stores and stuff, you see them walking around in their boots and things like that. And it's all of a sudden it's cool to do that again.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time at Trail Dust Town. There's nothing cuter than little kid cowboys walking around. I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And, we see them at the event, and that's still my biggest joy, is to see those little kids come in the gate. And if it's their first time there, or if they've been there since they were babies, to see them walking around and they've got their boots on and their hats, and they're all, they're dialed in, but that's their element. And then we get them in the junior rodeo program and get them out there mutton busting and things like that. And that kind of stuff, you'd be surprised at how popular that has gotten, because the kids are into it now, and mom and dad are into it too. It's a good thing. It's nice to see that being refreshed.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it beats video games, but even the past few years, Red Dead Redemption is one of the most popular video games. And like we're talking about, all these TV shows, they even filmed Duster here before they refilmed it in New Mexico. And there's a lot of long-form stuff that is in the Old West. Yellowstone, a lot of TV has really found that. And
absolutely,
that's a big part of it. I think that it really is a part of our culture. It's a part of American history more than anything else, is our Western culture. It's exciting to see these kids getting involved in it. And how could you not, when you live here? Take advantage of what is in your local area, because there's a lot of fun opportunities. And you talk about the mutton bust and you talk about this fun stuff. Let's actually get right into the dates here. Let's talk about the rodeo, because I have a few dates, but I want you to give me the dates of the rodeo, and then let's talk about the schedule. I've got it all written down.
Okay, for 2026, we start on February 21st, which is a Saturday. We go the 21st and 22nd, that first weekend, is live performances. And then we have slack qualifying on Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday we go dark. Wednesday's our breather day in the middle.
Okay.
And then Thursday, the 26th, I believe, is the date. That's the day of the parade in the morning. And then we go 4 performances after that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We actually finish on March 1st this year.
Yep.
Which we don't do very often. We usually don't go into March, but this year it's an anomaly, but we'll finish on the 1st of March.
There you go. Not too shabby. It's at the Rodeo Grounds at 4823 South 6th Avenue here in Tucson. Make sure you take a road trip here to Tuketown, because it's the best thing. The gates are at 10 o'clock. Mutton busting is at 12, and that junior rodeo is at 12:30. And that's going to go till 2 o'clock. And from 2 to 4:30, you got bareback riding, steer wrestling, team roping, saddle bronc riding, tie-down roping, barrel racing, and bull riding. So let's talk about some of these events, and then we'll talk about what's going to happen at 8 p.m. because we always got to get together and have a dance afterwards to celebrate. So let's talk about the mutton busting, and tell me all about what that is, and the junior rodeo, because we're talking about these kids.
Well, mutton busting, I will say that has probably grown into one of our most popular events That's the reason we actually open our doors an hour earlier now, because people expressed to us that, when they got in at 11 o'clock, they didn't have enough time to shop and eat and do all that stuff before the kids started. So we said, well, how about if we let you in an hour earlier? So we open the gates at 10 now.
Nice. I noticed that.
And, gives everybody time to eat and wander around, do their thing, but they want to be in their seats when the mutton busting starts. This year, we filled up our mutton busting entries in 5 days.
Wow.
We opened it on a Saturday, and we were full last Friday morning. We couldn't take any more entries.
That's wild.
That is the first time we have ever filled up that quickly, ever.
Yeah, and this is the earliest we've even had a conversation about the event. Like, we are months ahead of the event, which is great.
Absolutely. And that kind of tipped our hand a little bit as to, hey, this doing things the way we're doing them must be working, because we've never had that much interest in the mutton busting that early. We always fill it up, but it tends to run 2 or 3 weeks, at normal, and before we fill up those entries. But now, in 5 days, it's like, wow, sorry, but we're full. We can't take any more kids.
Yeah.
And we limit them. They can be up to 5 years old, and then they got to stop. Then, we take them 3 to 5 and put them on the back of a sheep, and let's see if they can hold on and how far they can go.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
It is absolutely phenomenal to watch. We've even got little mini bullfighters that are dressed to the part, that are out there in the arena with them, kind of hazing the sheep, and it's really become something that people make it a point to be in their seats to watch.
I mean, that sounds amazing and hysterical.
It's great. It's wonderful to see it.
And so young. That's so funny. So then it's the junior rodeo at 12:30. Tell me about the junior rodeo. What are they doing there?
Well, we got team roping. We've got we'll have fathers and sons and fathers and daughters.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a family event for the team ropers. We have steer riding, goat tying, barrel racing. Everything is geared for the under 13-year-old crowd. So we take them anywhere between 6 and 13 for any of those events, and we get quite a turnout. And heaven forbid you watch a team roping event that father and daughter are roping, and dad misses his loop. The looks could kill. The looks can kill. It's absolutely hysterical to watch it.
That is excellent. And then from 2 to 4:30 is the rodeo, all the fun stuff where we were just talking about that, bareback riding, steer wrestling. Tell me about just some of your favorite things, because I don't got to list them all again. Just tell me about some of yours that you want to call out.
Well, my favorite is actually saddle bronc riding.
Yeah.
It's always been a favorite of mine. I do like the steer wrestling, but saddle bronc is a favorite. Any of the rough stock events where it's strictly man against beast, I guess you could say. Those I tend to really enjoy. They're all great events, and it's very much everything that you're seeing in that arena is pretty much evolved from ranching skills. I mean, that's where the basics of all these events all evolve around what is daily life on ranches.
Yeah, that's
with the exception of bull riding. I think that may have come into, hey, hold my beer and watch me do this.
Yeah.
But I still haven't figured out who started that one. But
that's the after hours ranch hands figuring out stuff to do.
Definitely an after hours program on that one. I'm sure.
I bet you I could do that. How long do you think? Maybe about 8 seconds. Right?
I'll tell you what. If you can hold on for 8 seconds, I'm buying the next round.
Yeah. Ding, there it is.
There it is.
That's awesome. And that is, bull riding's kind of the big main event there. We all know bull riding. Let me ask you this much, because a few years ago, there was some history when it comes to bull riding, because I love professional wrestling. So the WWE got bought and merged, or not bought, but merged, right?
Right.
That the UFC, they become TKO, and then they buy professional bull riding. And by the way, folks, for $2 billion. Like, this is not like they bought it for, a ham sandwich. That shows you how big this industry actually is and has been growing now consistently. Have you seen like a big shift in whether it's popularity or anything like that, or knowledge about professional bull riding since kind of that happened and it's become more mainstream?
I think they have done an outstanding job of marketing the PBR, and it is definitely an entire different event than a full-blown rodeo. When you go to a PBR event, it is an event that is made for television. I mean, it is it's polished. Boy, there's no wasted time. It runs like clockwork.
Yep.
You have your TV timeouts, the whole deal, just like you do for an NFL game. But it is definitely gaining in popularity. A few years back, when they'd come to the Tucson Community Center and put an event on, they were making everybody sit on one side to make it look full. Well, now they don't do that anymore because it is full.
Wow.
It's really has gained dramatically in popularity. And I think it's all done with the way they market it.
Yep.
And, they've got 2 tours going across the country back and forth. And they have their own finals. They have their own team events now, which is a new version of the PBR where you've got, 5 guys that are competing against a different 5 guys, and it's a team concept.
Yes.
They have owners, they have sponsors, the whole deal. And that's a whole separate tour.
Yeah.
But it's gaining popularity as well. I mean, they have to limit their franchises because they can only take so many teams.
It's fascinating to watch because if you think of the way monster trucks work, monster trucks, same type of thing where they go on a tour like this around the country, promoting this fun thing of particular skills, putting on a show and stuff like that. But you can see how certain art forms like this, like roller derby, never got championed and did go away, even though there was a time.
Oh, yeah.
When that was like the most popular thing.
Yep.
And that's why you need to champion and market things so that they don't just disappear. So as I say, I'm watching wrestling and now they have like, here's this celebrity in the crowd. It's professional bull riders, so-and-so. They bring their people on, they bring their Netflix stars on, and you get all that synergy of someone saying, hey, wait a minute, that guy's talking to The Rock and he's got a brand new Netflix movie and they're talking to this PBR guy. That guy must be important too.
Right. And you've got a lot of those guys that are actually part owners or owners of bulls. Yes. That are on that tour.
Yeah.
Larry the Cable Guy, he was one of the first ones that was kind of from outside the sport to buy a piece of livestock.
That's fascinating.
And now you've got people that are buying them, you got Kid Rock involved. You've got people from all over the country in different aspects of the entertainment business that are dipping their toe in the PBR.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing thing to watch because that is a traveling road show that the only thing they don't bring when they come to town is the dirt. They get the dirt local, but everything else comes on a truck.
Heck yeah.
And it's a fleet of trucks. And to watch them set that thing up, and it's like setting up the old circus back in the day with the tent and the whole deal. They roll into town, start working on Wednesday, and by Thursday night, they're ready to go.
And I was actually going to say, like, we lost the circus, the traditional circus the way it used to be. Yep. It's back and away. They use actually fun light shows now.
Right.
That's how you have an elephant. It's like, well, clever, because it's still just, people just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
It's just a great show. And this has turned into such a great show, the rodeo.
Yeah.
It's so fun. There's so many things aside from that, because now let's talk about, boy, I'm exhausted. We've had a fun day at the rodeo, but I still feel like dancing. You got to do the old 2-step after the last bull bucks dance. It's the Coors barn dance. Have you been to this? Tell me about the barn dance.
Actually, it goes from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m., but we do have a live band every night after the rodeo from 4 to 8, and we have drinks and beverages for folks, and that's held in the barn right there on the grounds. You don't have to leave the property to get in, and it is a 21 and over event. It's turned into be quite a good hospitality venue for us, and people enjoy it because we use local bands. We don't bring people in from out of town, and we try to get the best of the best. So.
Yeah, we got enough. We got a lot of that local town. Our music scene here is great and obviously fits the tradition.
Awesome music scene. Yeah, absolutely.
And isn't a big part of the organization, like all the beer sales do benefit the organization, or am I wrong there?
Well, it goes into our bottom line, but we use a service group. The Rotary Club provides the staffing for all the beer stands.
That's what I was remembering, yes.
And they earn a commission on everything that they sell. And it is their biggest fundraiser of the year.
Yes, that's what I was remembering. Thank you.
And we've got those involved. And then we also have the Knights of Columbus are involved in our hawkers that are up in the stands, and they receive a percentage as well. But we use a lot of service groups to do a lot of functions out there, not only the beer and alcohol sales, but we have the Lions group that are out there that run a couple snack bars. Mm-hmm. A lot of 4-H groups that come in and do everything from help us with our trash and cleaning up the grounds and keeping the food court clean to helping us park cars in the parking lot. We use as much local resources as we can, and that way we can give back to them as well. I mean, even in the merchandise booth where we sell our T-shirts and stuff, we have some of the local sports teams, like, Sabino High School's golf team comes out and works a few days, and they actually staff the booth, and they get a percentage of the sales for that day.
That's great.
So we do that with all of these service groups and give them a piece of the pie.
Brilliant.
And it's our way of giving back. There's no way we could staff that entire event if we had to rely on our talent, because we've got a lot of volunteers, but we don't have that many.
Right. So, and if you are looking for volunteers, one way, probably go volunteer at one of these local organizations, because that's a good way to do it. Get involved with those local organizations as well, because I talk to them, and you got to realize, folks, especially you younger folks out there, get involved. You want to join because you don't want these organizations to go away. They
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely they can. And I know those older crowds, the Lions, the Rotaries, etc., are really struggling with membership because the youth of today doesn't see the value in volunteering. We have, on our committee, we have 4 paid staff members in the entire organization.
Yeah.
And that's our office staff. Everybody else involved in the rodeo is all volunteer. And we have everything from retired professors, retired police officers, firemen, you name it. We've got somebody on that committee that's done that as a career. And everybody's a volunteer, and they do it because they love the event and they love the camaraderie, and it's a family to all of us. We don't rely on paid staff other than the people we have doing the hard work in the office, but the event itself is all run by volunteers. And we have, 42 people on our voting membership and 53 associate members and probably 300 volunteers that help us everything from putting people in their seats and, you name it, to whatever we need done. We've got volunteers taking tickets at the gate, et cetera. But to get involved on that level, you have to make a commitment, and we've got guys on the committee. We've got people on the committee, been on the committee 35, 40 years. They do it because they love it.
Yeah.
They do it because they love it.
And I'll tell you who else they love. They love the people they're doing it with. And here's the problem. You talk about these young people. You know what else the young people are suffering from? Loneliness. That's right. It's an epidemic. So if you don't want to be lonely, go volunteer. It's my number one call to action here in town is I constantly am trying to get people to volunteer, find your cause, whether it's a health thing, whether it's helping veterans, whether it's helping the homeless, or maybe homeless veterans, or maybe it's celebrating things like the rodeo because you care about the culture of our community here in the Southwest. And look at this great page. I think the one thing that you need to do, though, is own a black hat because, Mark, look at this page. Look at this page. Look at this page. This is just hysterical.
It's mandatory.
It's a mandatory black hat page.
Got to have a black hat.
You got to go look at TucsonRodeo.com. You can see all the committee members there. You can click some of these links so that you know how to get involved and learn more about it, even on your own, because the history's there, the media stuff is there, all the stuff that you need to know, even a fan club if you just want to join and get involved with a fan club.
And there's a link there if you want to volunteer, too.
Good. That's the point. I want people to go check this out because calling for volunteers is the most important thing. Plenty of time for you to make plans to get involved with La Fiesta de los Vaqueros, also known as the Tucson Rodeo. So really just make time for it. Make an effort to go to TucsonRodeo.com to learn all about what's going on. We're telling you a bit about it, but you really do want to go and really make some friends and get out there. It is just a great week out and a great weekend out. Lastly, and maybe not last, maybe there's a little bit of time, because I do want to say, make sure you go to that parade. I didn't mention it here on air. I am the MC for the Tucson Rodeo Parade. It's one of my favorite things to do. The fact that I had the honor of, I was the MC for the 100th Tucson Rodeo Parade. I'm in the history books.
You are.
Yes.
You are. That's something to be said right there.
Yes.
I do have to ask a question, though.
Go on.
Did you get a black hat?
No, I have a gigantic foam orange hat that is comical because I'm a clown. So,
well, I can see where that would work. I just had to ask the hat question.
Yeah, it was funny because even I use this joke every year where the guy's going to do the national anthem, and I say, "Is it now time for us to remove our hats?" And he goes, "Yes, even our giant foam hats." And then everybody kind of chuckles, like, "Everyone remove your giant foam cowboy hats," and everyone chuckles. So here's my other favorite joke that happened last year was the mayor is coming by, right? So the mayor's going by and you wave at the mayor and I go, "Oh, it's the mayor." I say, "I love the town. I love going to all the towns there. I'm friends with all the mayors." And I don't mean the horses. And it was the biggest laugh of the day. Like, you heard a big audible laugh because everyone could tell I thought of it right at that second.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean the horse.
Ad lib is king.
It is. So I love the parade. I love this event. And there's other things. Just again, the Chicks and Chaps event is also, it's a 501c3 dedicated to helping communities raise money for local individuals and families impacted by breast cancer while promoting the sport of rodeo and the Western lifestyle. They're going to be down there raising money and having things go on there. So get involved with that. There's also Cowboy Church on Sundays. So
Absolutely.
That's very important. Tell me about that because I only have a little bit about it here.
We have Cowboy Church every Sunday, or both Sundays that we have our event. I believe he starts at 9 a.m. and goes to 10. And it's pretty much a non-denominational type service, but it's a traveling event that goes to rodeos on the circuit, because that's one thing that you will find in the rodeo community is there's a few things that we do every day amongst ourselves and with our crowd. We salute the flag, we pray, and we honor America. And that is kind of what sets us apart from a lot of things, I think. But the Cowboy Church is very well attended in the mornings. You can come in the gate and, we point you to the direction where you go to the barn, and they put on a nice service. And it's open to the public.
Yeah.
So you're more than welcome to come join us.
I mean, it's so considerate of what you're doing since you have this weekend event, and you want to include that. You don't got to miss what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Come celebrate and then celebrate with us. That's exciting. There's a lot of other things going on because you've also got REACH. That is the Rodeo Education and Children. It's a fun educational program that celebrates the historic sport of rodeo and the spirit of the American West. You can go sign up for that. Again, go check everything out here at TucsonRodeo.com. Go find them on Facebook and Instagram. Pretty much the same ats, and you'll be all set. You could probably even search a hashtag Tucson Rodeo. So really, that's the bottom line when it comes to everything happening. I'm so excited that it's going to be a great time because the Tucson Rodeo is unlike anything else in the country. We've talked about it so much. If you've got any final thoughts, what is the last call to action, everybody here?
I would love for y'all to come out and join us. If you haven't been before, you owe it to yourself.
That's right.
We pride ourselves on having a family event. We encourage everybody from 2 to 92 and everywhere in between to come out and join us because we strive to put on a family show for everybody and make everybody enjoy the day. It's a great entertainment value. Come on out, enjoy the sunshine. We've been blessed the last couple of years that, Mother Nature, that's the only thing we can't control is the weather. But she's been awful cooperative with us for the last few years. So we'll keep our fingers and toes crossed that carries on this year and come out and enjoy the sunshine and have a good time with us.
That is the spirit. Because today we made friends with Mark Baird, chairman of the Tucson Rodeo, celebrating over 100 years of tradition, 8 seconds at a time. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Frank.
This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. What a great conversation with Mark. I always love talking about the Tucson Rodeo and all things involving the Tucson Rodeo, like the Tucson Rodeo Parade. And I'm going to have an episode with them coming on up. And I'm going to have Mark back. And we're going to have more friends from the Tucson Rodeo and all things that in the coming weeks leading up to it. February 21st, 22nd, and February 26th through March 1st at the Tucson Rodeo grounds. There's also the Tucson Rodeo Parade happening. We're going to have a good time with all these great fun events, and we're supporting Chicks and Chaps. I'm going to get them in here as well to talk about everything that they're up to, talking about breast cancer, and again, more events and more fun stuff as we celebrate the Tucson Rodeo pretty much all month long here on Lifestyle Tucson. I want to thank our new friends at the Tucson Rodeo for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are rustling up some fun times. Yeehaw! Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers, and Toot Toot Tucson. I love you the most.